Alright, so the goal for you guys today is for you to be able to solve two-step equations. Alright, so we just solved one-step equations. So, of course, two-step equations mean we're going to have to do two steps to solve them. Now, before we get into some of the examples I'm going to do, alright, you want to remember that you always want to add or subtract the integers first. Alright, so that the variables are on one side of the equation and the integers are on the other side. Alright, so you're going to have just your variables on the left side or the right side of the equal sign, and then just the values or the integers on the opposite side that the variables are on. Alright, then that's when you can multiply or divide to solve. Alright, so here's an example. We got 3x plus 2 equals 17. So the first thing we want to do is we want all the integers or all the numbers on one side of the equal sign. Alright, so we have to add or subtract first. First thing we do is use our inverse operations to cancel out that plus 2. Well, the opposite of plus 2 is minus 2. So I am going to do minus 2 on this side, and then remember, whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side of the equation. So I'll take away 2 on this side, take away 2 on that side. So these are going to cancel out. All I'm left with is the 3x, and then 17 minus 2 is going to give me 15. Alright, now, I don't have enough room going up and down, so I just move the equation over here. Now what I have is 3x equals 15. Now I know a lot of you guys already know what the answer is, even though I do have it on the board. Alright, you could have probably just solved that on your own. Alright, but I want you to get used to showing your work and using inverse operations. So, I got 3x equals 15. Remember, if there's no sign in between a number and a variable, just like if there's no sign in between a number and a parentheses, that means you're using multiplication. Well, the opposite of multiplication is going to be division. So, I have to cancel out that 3 so that I get x all by itself, because we're always solving for what x equals. Alright, we just want to get that variable all by itself, nothing attached to it. So I'm going to divide this one by 3, and so whatever I do to this side, I got to do to the other side, so I'm going to divide this side by 3. These are going to cancel out, so I'm just left with x, and 15 divided by 3 is going to give me 5. Alright, so that's how we're going to solve two-step equations. You're always going to add or subtract first, alright, when of course we're using addition and subtraction, or when it's in the problem. You're going to add or subtract first, then when you have the variables on one side and the numbers or integers on the other side, that's when you're going to multiply or divide to solve for the variable. Alright, so some examples I want to do with you. We got 2x minus 8 equals negative 14. Alright, so first thing I want to do is cancel out that minus 8. Well, the opposite of minus 8 is going to be plus 8. So I'm going to do plus 8 on that side and plus 8 on this side. Alright, if you want to draw that line down from the equal sign to remind you that there are two sides to this equation, you can. So, minus 8 and plus 8, those are going to cancel out. All I'm going to be left with then is the 2x. So, I'm going to write 2x equals, and now I have negative 14 plus 8, and that's going to give me negative 6. So, I've got the variables on one side, the integer on the other side. Now I'm going to multiply or divide, depending on what the problem is. Well, 2 times x. So that means I have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is going to be division. So I'm going to divide this side by 2. And then divide this side by 2. And again, I'm going to draw a line to separate the sides of the equation. So, I've got 2x divided by 2. These 2's are going to cancel out. And I'm just going to be left with x, which is exactly what I want, because I'm trying to figure out what x equals. And then negative 6 divided by 2, so that's going to give me negative 3. There's my answer. Alright. Next one. X divided by negative 6 minus 1 equals 2. So the first thing we gotta do is, you got it, add 1. Because when we add 1, it's going to cancel out that minus 1. So I'm doing that to both sides. Plus 1 here, and plus 1 on that side. These are going to cancel. Boom. Gone. And all I'm left with over here is x divided by negative 6. So I'm going to fill that in there. X divided by negative 6. And on this side we've got 2 plus 1. That's just going to give me 3. Okay? Now, I've got x divided by negative 6 equals 3. Now that we have just a variable on one side, the integer on the other side, we can multiply or divide. Well, since we've got x divided by negative 6, the opposite of divided by negative 6, the inverse of division is multiplication. So, I'm going to multiply by negative 6, and I'm going to do that to both sides. So, I'm going to, you know what, I can just put this over here. I'm going to do negative 6 times, and then this is times negative 6. And you know what, because I don't want this to overlap with that next problem, I'm going to do times negative 6 underneath it right here. Alright, so, and again I'm going to draw a line to separate the two sides of the equation. So, divided by negative 6 times negative 6, those are going to cancel out. Gone. All I'm left with over here is going to be x. And then on this side I've got 3 times negative 6, and 3 times negative 6 is going to give me negative 18. And again, like I told you class, if you want to go back and check your work to make sure you got the correct value for the variable, just go back in, plug in negative 18 for x. So we have negative 18 divided by negative 6 is positive 3. Positive 3 minus 1 is 2. Yeah, makes sense. So you know you did your work correctly. That's why you show your work, alright? Because if you think you might have made a mistake, you can go back, look at all your work, plug in your answer, see if it's correct. Next one. Negative 3x plus 3 equals 27. Alright, so first thing we have to do here, I'm going to draw this line. First thing we got to do is add or subtract first. Well, I've got plus 3, so I'm going to cancel it out with a minus 3. Beautiful. And then on this side, same thing, coming at you with a minus 3. And these are going to cancel out because they're inverses, right? Actually, going back to unit 1, those are additive inverses, in case any of you picked up on that. Plus 3 and minus 3, those are gone. All I'm left with is negative 3x, so I'm going to write that down here. And over here on this side I've got 27 minus 3. That's just going to be 24. Now I've got variables, integer. So I've got negative 3x, which is the same thing as negative 3 times x. Alright, which means I have to cancel out the times negative 3 by doing divided by negative 3. So I'm going to do that to both sides. I would like you, class, make sure you get used to, especially when you're dealing with equations, 1-step, 2-step, multiple step equations, get used to using division signs like this. Alright, I already know, I told you that, you know, you can use the standard division sign, you can use a slash, or you could use that fraction line, that fraction bar. Alright, I want you to get used to using that fraction bar when you divide in an equation, when you're showing your work. Okay? Because that's usually how you're going to see equations worked out anyway, so I just want you to get used to that method. So, the negative 3 and the negative 3 are going to cancel out. I'm just going to be left with x equals, and then 24 divided by negative 3 is going to give me negative 8. That's it. There's my answer. Gravy. Alright, so, last one that I'm going to do with you. Alright, next slide you're going to do 4 on your own. Give them a shot. Let's see how we can do. We got x divided by 5 plus 7 equals 1. Alright, first thing, add or subtract. So, the opposite of plus 7 is going to be minus 7. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I keep putting these markers in the wrong caps. So we got plus 7, minus 7. Gone. So all I'm left with over here is going to be x over 5, or x divided by 5. And then right here I've got 1 minus 7. That's going to give me negative 6. Okay? You know what, that's a little sloppy, that equal sign. Let me make that look a little nicer. Alright, so x divided by 5 equals negative 6. Well, the opposite of divided by 5 is going to be times 5. So in here somewhere I'm going to do times 5. Over here I'll do times 5. Again, I'm going to draw a line to make sure I remember what side is which side's the left, which side's the right. These are going to cancel out, these 5s, so that all I'm left with is that lovely x. And then over here I just have to do negative 6 times 5, and I'm going to get negative 30. Okay, there's my answer. If you go back and plug it in, negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus 7, positive 1. Makes sense, works out. There we go, negative 30. And the last slide, there we go. These 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 problems. I want you to give them a shot, try and work them out, pause the video, see how well you can do, because it's going to make that quiz tomorrow even easier. Alright, so give them a shot. Alright, so negative 8x plus negative 3 equals 5. A lot of negatives in there. Alright, but we can handle that. Let me rearrange myself so I can slide down here. We got negative 8x plus negative 3 equals 5. So, first thing we want to do, add or subtract. Well, even though this is addition, remember I told you I want you to start thinking about these values in terms of the sign to the left of it. Well, even though we're adding negative 3, think about that 3 in terms of the sign to the left of it. Minus 3, right? Negative 3. The opposite of that is going to be plus 3 or positive 3. So, I'm going to do plus 3 on that side and plus 3 on this side. I'm going to separate the sides, alright, left side of the equation and the right side of the equation with those lines. Now these are going to cancel out, right? There goes those additive inverses. All I'm left with over here is negative 8x. Alright, so I'm going to write negative 8x. If I can fit it, there we go. Equals 5 plus 3, which is going to give me 8. So I've got 8x, negative 8x equals 8. Alright, so remember, you can't see the operation in between the number and the variable, use a multiplication. So I gotta use the I have to use the opposite of multiplication to get rid of that negative 8, because I'm just solving for x. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna separate them. Alright. And remember, you don't have to use this line if you don't want to, but I'm just going to use it for you to separate the left side from the right side of the equation. Alright, so the opposite of times negative 8 is going to be divided by negative 8. So divided by negative 8, and this side divided by negative 8. That's an ugly looking 8. Alright, but we'll deal with it. Alright, negative 8 divided by negative 8 is going to be positive 1. So I'm going to be left with 1x. But we don't need that 1, so I'm just going to write an x in there. Okay. Now I've got x equals whatever 8 divided by negative 8 is. Well, 8 divided by 8 I know is 1, but this is a negative 8. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. So my answer is going to be negative 1. Alright, hopefully you got that. Next one. X divided by 4 plus 7 equals negative 1. So, first thing we have to do, subtract. So, the opposite of plus 7 is going to be minus 7. So, I'm going to do that on both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side, you've got to do to the other side. Okay, no exception. Don't care. You have to. Alright, fair is fair. So, plus 7 and minus 7, they're going to cancel. Gone. And I've got x divided by 4. So, drop that equal sign back down. We've got x over 4 equals. And then on the right side, I've got negative 1 minus 7. Alright, remembering back to how we added and subtracted integers, positive and negative values, you should have gotten negative 8. So now my problem, what we've got left is x divided by 4 equals negative 8. So I need to get that x all by itself. Alright, it wants to be lonely. Alright, so I gotta do the opposite of divided by 4, which is times 4. So I'm gonna do times 4. Alright, or I'll just do, 4 times, same thing. Same thing on this side, times 4. 4 times 4, doesn't matter. Alright, so these are gonna cancel out. Goodbye 4s. Equal sign's gonna drop. I've got x all by its lonesome. And now over here I have negative 8 times 4. Remember, this is a multiplication sign. Okay? We're using dots now for multiplication, not x's. Negative 8 times positive 4 is going to give me negative, you guessed it, 32. So, first two done. Let's see if we can nail those last two. Alright, 2x minus negative 3 equals negative 7. Oh wait, we got a minus and a negative right next to each other, so before we can do anything, we got to combine those two, right? Minus and negative. Remember, if a parenthesis is separating the minus and the negative, that's okay. Unless it's separated by an actual number, you got to combine those, boy. Can't talk. I'm going a little fast. I'm trying to make this video not as long as the last video, okay? I know you don't want to be sitting here watching this for another 25 minutes like the last one. So, I'm going to rewrite this. You got 2x. This is going to turn into plus 3 equals negative 7. Alright, now I got to do the opposite of plus 3, which is going to be minus 3. So, we'll do minus 3 on both sides. Bring this line down to keep these separated. These are going to cancel. So all I'm going to be left with is 2x equals. Then I've got negative 7 minus 3. You owe $7, you owe $3, total you owe $10. So now I have 2x equals negative 10. Alright, so 2 times x. What's the opposite of times 2? Divided by 2. So I'm going to do that on both sides. Divided by 2. Boom. Divided by 2. Doesn't get any easier than that, guys. Oh wait, why did I put that negative in there? Oh, eraser. There we go. And that's a hair. Alright. So, we've got 2x divided by 2. These are going to cancel out. Goodbye 2's. And I've got x all by itself equals, what is negative 10 divided by positive 2? Why? Nothing else than negative 5. One last one to go. Alright, let's see how we did. X divided by negative 3 minus 10 equals 4. Okay. First thing we have to do, and I'll draw a line to separate these, okay, is add or subtract. So, I'm going to get rid of that minus 10 by doing plus 10. I'm going to do that to this side also. So these are going to cancel, right? Because they're opposites, they're gone. All I'm left with is x divided by negative 3. So I'm going to do x divided by negative 3 equals, and we have 4 plus 10. That's going to give me 14. And then the last step to our two-step equation, x divided by negative 3. The opposite of divided by negative 3 is going to be times negative 3. So again, you could do 3, or you could do negative 3 times. You could have even written times negative 3 up here. It doesn't matter. Alright? You're going to get the same answer regardless. So, since I did negative 3 times, or times negative 3, on that side, I have to do it to this side also. Okay? Keep these sides separated. These are going to cancel. So all I've got over here is x, which is what I want to solve for. And now I have 14 times negative 3, which is going to give me negative 42. Alright. Hopefully you guys killed these. Alright, if not, if you were struggling, ask me in the morning, alright, right before class starts, or ask me, you know, if I got you after, after homeroom, if I got you 2nd, 5th, or 7th period. Ask me as soon as you get in the classroom, maybe just chilling, can you go over one of these for me real quick before we take the quiz? And if I got time, I'll help you out. Alright, but if you're taking good notes on these, you're writing down everything I'm saying, remember, alright, because I'm not going to write down everything that is important. Some of these things I'm actually going to talk about. You should be good for this quiz. Alright, so, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you're having a great night. See you.